Let's go back to where it started, or I guess where the NFL started. You mentioned you were going to the draft in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Wisconsin Badger himself, since the draft is tomorrow. What was your draft day like? We know you jumped on the water, you went fishing with the family, right? I remember that day in 2007 watching, because Cleveland was our, like, back in '07 was our team. You know what I mean?
Yeah, baby.
That's our pride and joy right there. So we knew the story and everything. But tell us a little bit about why you did the boat and instead of going to New York City, and how fun it was to be on the water.
Yeah, you guys were in short pants there back in Cleveland with your full Browns gear on, and
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome. So I really never had grown up watching the draft because, when I was a kid, like the draft, maybe it was on TV, but I couldn't find it. I mean, I didn't have cable, so I never watched the draft and dreamed of that moment. Of course, as a kid, I wanted to play in the NFL, but to me, the draft was just like getting the answer, the results of your test in science class, where it's like, hey, you either did a good job or you didn't do a good job. And then, this is where your life's going to go from there. And so I always had a tradition on Saturdays as a kid growing up that I would go fishing with my dad. Like that was our thing. That was our time together.
So cool, man.
And you go through the whole pre-draft process, right? So you got the combine and the workouts and you do all these things. You don't have a whole lot of time for regular life. And then the draft comes and you have a very, very small window before they whisk you away to wherever team drafts you. And you got OTAs and mini camp. And you go right into training camp. So this is like your only little window to reconnect with family and friends before you're pretty much disconnected for like a year.
Right.
And so I always had it in my mind, like, hey, I got a little time. I'm going to go fishing. Like, I don't have to be anywhere right now. The hay's in the barn as far as training and stuff. So I was going to go fishing. And then at that time, they invited 5 players to the draft. So they would kind of pick the top 5 guys that they thought.
It was only 5?
Only 5, right?
Wow.
Very interesting.
And so I didn't even really think about like, hey, they might ask me to come. I knew I was going to be a high draft pick, but Gil Brandt, the Hall of Fame scout from the Dallas Cowboys, he was in charge at that time of being able to decide, all right, who's going to go to the draft? Who's coming, right? So he calls me up and he's like, hey, Joe, congratulations. I want to let you know that you're going to be going to New York for the draft. We'll get somebody in touch that can do the logistics, but we want you to fly out there like on Wednesday. And then you got this thing to do and that thing to do. Make sure you get a couple pairs of suits. And, and then like Saturday is the big day and you can bring a couple of your family members and get to go on stage with Roger Goodell and all this stuff. And he was hyping it up like I was going to be all excited. And there was a big pause on the phone and I was just like, hey, bad news, Gil, but I already got plans on Saturday. Sorry, man, I'm going fishing with my dad.
I'm going fishing.
He was like, wait a minute. Nobody's ever said no to the draft. Yeah. He didn't even comprehend it just the way I didn't comprehend ever going to the draft.
Right.
And I think he was like, all right, just a minute. I'll be right back to you, And I think he probably like called up the people in the draft. And, at that time they were trying to make a big show out of it, right? So they needed the actors to show up for the show.
Oh, yeah.
And so he calls back the next time and he's like, hey, Joe, I know you said you have plans, but we really need you there. We got the TV there. You got an opportunity to market yourself, get your face out there to NFL fans and corporations where you can, do some stuff and start making some money. And I go, hey, Gil, I'm an offensive lineman. I don't exactly think that I'm going to make any money marketing or endorsements. Have you looked at me? I'm like, if I make money in the NFL, it's for how I play. So thank you for the offer, but I'm really not interested. So he was again taken aback. So then he calls back like a day later. And he's like, hey, we really need you there. Like some scouts have been talking that you're a prima donna, that you don't want to go to the draft. It's really going to hurt your draft stock. And at that point,
the prima donna from Wisconsin. Yeah,
exactly. I'm like, okay.
The prima donna going fishing with his dad.
Yes, sorry, I want to spend some time with my dad.
Get the fuck out of here. That's such a joke.
So he's like trying to play that. And you guys know how it is. Like us as athletes, I think generally, like we try to be kind people because we were always the biggest kid in the class. We didn't want to like beat anybody up, get in trouble, unless we had to. But when we had to, like we were going to throw some shit down, and it was going to happen. And now all of a sudden it's like fuck me, fuck you. So I was like, all right, I'm definitely not fucking going because you're trying to pull this prima donna shit. And so like, don't even call me back. I'm not interested. Like, don't waste my time anymore. I don't want to waste your time. So I called my agent and I'm like, look, I'm not going. And he's like, well, I totally get it. It's no problem. But we just need to make sure whatever you do that day, you need to have cell service because we need to be able to call you.
It's important.
As you guys remember, maybe on your draft day, I think you probably did. Like they want to call you and talk and just make sure, have you been arrested?
Make sure you haven't gotten hurt and nothing's happened last second. Yeah.
Exactly. Like everybody, not everybody, a lot of people party a little bit, the night before their draft. They got family and friends there, whatever. They want to make sure everything is the same. You're not in handcuffs, nothing's happened. And so I was like, all right, I can make that concession. I'll fish close enough to the cell phone towers that I leave a cell phone call and
Nice.
I can talk to whoever drafts me. And so he's like, okay, great. I'll handle it from here. Like, you don't need to stress about this anymore. And so like, I didn't hear from him for a while, like a few weeks, and my agent, he handled it. Peter Schaefer did a great job. And then like, finally, I think Gil came around and understood, like, he ain't coming to the draft. So I finally got a call like, hey, I'm sorry about that. Don't worry, you don't have to come to the draft. It's okay. You can go fishing with your dad. And it was kind of like he was trying to smooth things over again.
Sure.
Yeah. So that's the story. I ended up going fishing with my dad, got drafted third overall by the Browns. And the ironic thing about it all was I was doing it just to spend time with my dad, get away from the cameras and stuff, and like didn't want to make a deal about it or a big story. But now it's like every time the draft comes up, that's what people want to talk about.
The funny thing is that this made so much more headlines for the NFL doing this than going to that. Like how relatable is, and first of all, like, do you know how much this entrenched you right away in Cleveland? Like Midwest town drafted you. And it's like, this dude's going fishing with his dad and telling New York to fuck off. Yeah, sign us up for this guy right now. They're so relatable for so many people out there, right? Like this guy's having the pinnacle of his entire athletic career is about to happen. He's about to realize his dream and play in the NFL. And how's he going to do it? He's going to have a moment with his dad fishing and doing something that he's loved his whole life and stay true to his roots. So good on you. How was the day though? What'd we catch?
Yeah, what'd we catch?
Were the waters good by the cell towers, or were we?
Enough we made it work, and the humble brag in me says, I didn't have to wait too long. So the fishing trip was not exactly as long for some other people because I got drafted third overall. So we ended up catching a couple brown trout, which I thought was kind of cool.
Nice.
Nice brownies, and then the Browns draft you. And the only downside of being drafted early was they cut the fishing trip short. And then my agent did step in. He's like, hey, look, you got to go to Cleveland now. And like, they're going to bring their jet. Like Randy Lerner was the owner at the time. He's like, they're going to fly to you, like Waukesha, Wisconsin, tiny little airport. They're going to pick you up. They're going to turn around, take you to Cleveland because you do need to finally get a suit, put your suit on, go to Cleveland. They need to have this introductory press conference. It'll be great. You'll love it. And so I brought my, I think my fiance at the time, Annie, and then my parents and stuff. And we flew out and did all like the dog and pony show and stuff. And in the end, it worked out a lot better for me and the NFL, like you mentioned, because what's better for the NFL than like, hey, there's some down home guys that are shunning the spotlight that just want to be all about football and family.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
Bait and tackle. You a fly fisherman? What's your preferred fishing style?
Yeah, so I love all fishing. My favorite type of fishing is like bobber fishing, honestly, or like little jigging. I grew up pan fishing and going on Lake Erie when I was playing for the Browns. Like I would go out every chance I got, and if I could cast for walleyes, like drifting cast or like throwing, like the old Erie Dearies and stuff like that. Like anytime I can be connected to my bait where I'm feeling that hit, that strike, to me that's fishing. Like I do a bunch of trolling, and that's how you collect meat. If you're out on Lake Erie, you troll for walleye, you troll for steelhead.
Correct. Yeah,
it's not as much fun just reeling.
You're going for trophy fish, big fish. You got to troll, but it's definitely. I hate trolling if I'm being honest. I've only done it one time. It's not my style.
No,
I like feeling it.